chosen to attend CMC. During her time here, she has distinguished herself in and out of the classroom. In addition to her excellent academic achievements, she has been a leader of student organizations, most notably serving as the only 4-term SGA president, as well as attaining national recognition as a student leader of Amnesty International. Please join me in welcoming this year's associate level graduation speaker, Molly Goldberg.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this momentous occasion and for inviting me to speak. Before I begin though, I would like to ask Professor Bruce Beckham, who has taught many of us in public speaking, to stand and say to me what he tells all his students before they begin a speech in his class.
Molly, we love and support you, don't we? So take a deep breath and think about your first words and when you're ready.
Now I feel ready to begin. Never in my wildest dreams would I think I could ever stand in front of a group wearing this ridiculous looking hat and gown, which I must admit, now that I look out at all of you, we pull this look off pretty good. Growing up, let's just say I was a difficult child. 5 years and 4 high schools later, including a brief stint in wilderness boot camp, I was forced to graduate from an alternative school. And when I say forced, I mean they could not get me out of there fast enough. I remember sitting down with my teachers and principal, going over my credits and filling out the graduation request form, and the look of terror in their eyes when they realized I was still 2 credits short. Dealing with me for another semester was not an option for them. And somehow they made those 2 credits appear out of nowhere, and I was out of there. Fast forward to 4 years later for the typical steamboat story. I visited our beautiful town for a boy I was madly in love with, and he was taking classes at CMC. He showed me the skateboarding mini ramp at the college, and I was sold. I moved out here a few months later, and with his persistence and nagging, I signed up for just 1 class, Wilderness and the American Ethic with John Saunders. What went from just dipping my feet in the water with that 1 class turned into a 5-year educational path, and starting with John as my first teacher was the best way to go. John not only taught me how to use a real compass, he also taught me how to have a moral compass. John's compassion, understanding, and passionate way of teaching made me feel like I was not just sitting in a classroom learning from an authority. We were learning together as a class, as a team. He showed me that school didn't have to be this torturous and boring path that I thought it was. From there, I was all in. I signed up for Bob Gummer's International Relations class, and he gave us a choice. Either write a research paper or join the Amnesty International Club. This was a pivotal point in my life. Bob became the best mentor I've ever had, always believing in me and pushing me to take all the really depressing human rights abuses he was teaching us and turning them into action to change the world. Because of Bob, I was able to work for Amnesty as a student activist coordinator for Colorado, be on the National Youth Action Committee for the entire country, and ultimately run for the board of directors of Amnesty International USA. Bob showed me my potential and allowed me to run with it. He also taught me that to be a real activist, I have to either get arrested or receive death threats, something I'm working very hard towards for the future. I then took those required English comp classes with Becky Potter. Becky taught me how to love. I've never met anyone with as much compassion and patience as Becky. Since high school was so difficult for me, I missed out on the basics of how to write a paper. And Becky worked through it with me and gave me the skills I needed to be successful, not just in school, but professionally as well. And then there's Bruce Beckham. Most of you in this room that know me know I am not one to be shy at public speaking, and that is all because of Bruce. The love Bruce shows to his students is incredible. Before I give any speech in front of a group, I picture him telling me that he loves and supports me and to take a deep breath and think of my first words. Bruce's love extends beyond the classroom, even going so far as getting out of his car to stoplight to bang on my window and tell me to quit smoking. And then there was the Cuba and Guatemala study abroad trips, where Bob and Cynthia Zizda were stuck with me and several other wild students for 10 days at a time. Cynthia's love for art is infectious. For someone such as myself with no artistic ability, she was able to show me that deep down I do have the ability to create, and taught me how to combine my love for activism with art and the artivism. These trips were life-changing, and Bob and Cynthia taught us how to deal with difficult situations through sarcasm and laughter. And then there's our amazing library staff. I couldn't even begin to count how many times I've rushed into the library at 8 o'clock on a Thursday night with an assignment due the next morning, and Kevin and Tracy have helped me to figure it out. From identifying algae to teaching me how to find books for research papers. Without them, I don't think I would have ever been able to get those last-minute assignments in and be standing here today. Last but not least, there's Chris Harnden, who has supported my 4-year dictatorship as student government president and taught me how to lead. Chris exemplifies life coach. He deals with my high maintenance, or as I like to call it, high quality, tendencies with student government, and encourages me to question and develop my leadership style. He has taught me how to be patient and to step back and let others take turns leading. He has been there for me through all the difficult life flips I've had, from freaking out during finals, to freaking out before events, to freaking out about writing the speech. There are so many more professors and staff at CMC that have helped shape who I am, and I can go on all day, but I have a feeling some of these people would like to graduate at some point this morning. From the great professors to the great counselors and staff, the small class sizes, CMC gave me the opportunity to reach my potential and to dedicate myself to learning. I mean, where else could we call our professors by their first names, text them at 10 o'clock at night about assignments, and sit down at the local pub and have a drink with them or listen to their bands play? But through these experiences and relationships, I have learned a great deal about the system in which we live. We are entering the real world during a pivotal moment in history. With climate change only becoming a more colossal problem, the job market still only slowly recovering, social unrest here at home and all around the world, it is imperative that we take the knowledge we have received here from all the amazing professors and engage with the real world. If we let ourselves get caught in the traps that those before us have with mortgages and cubicles, we are bound to continue the same cycle. We must set the new agenda and make the changes we dream of. Nelson Mandela once said that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, and I strongly believe that to be true. CMC has armed us with a heavy arsenal, and together we could not be stopped. I'd like to end with a quote by Edward Abbey that John Saunders handed out to us in that first class I took at CMC that threw me onto this path and brought me into this moment with all of you. Do not burn yourselves out. Be as I am, a reluctant enthusiast, a part-time crusader, a half-hearted fanatic. Save the other half of yourselves and your lives for pleasure and adventure. It is not enough to fight for the land, it is even more important to enjoy it while you can, while it's still here. So get out there and hunt and fish and mess around with your friends. Ramble out yonder and explore the forests, climb the mountains, bag the peaks, run the rivers. Breathe deep of that yet sweet and lucid air. Sit quietly for a while and contemplate the precious stillness, the lovely, mysterious, and awesome space. Enjoy yourselves. Keep your brain in your head and your head firmly attached to the body active and alive. And I promise you this much. I promise you this one sweet victory over our enemies, over those desk-bound men and women with their hearts in a safe deposit box and their eyes hypnotized by calculators. I promise you this, you will outlive them. Congratulations, class of 2015. I love and support you.